Hello world and all who inhabit it. My name is Blue and you're watching week 2 of The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. If you're new to this journey, I would recommend going back to watch the first video just so then you're all up to date. So this week's topic is about recovering a sense of identity, highlighting self-definition as a major part of your creative recovery. This week is all about drawing new boundaries, making room in your life for the needs and interests that are beginning to reveal themselves. So Cameron starts the reading pages by just reiterating what was mentioned last week, especially around the censor and when doubt can creep in, and that we can reverse that negative self-talk by using affirmations. She talks about people known as poisonous playmates. Our creativity thrives in safety, but toxic people can feel threatened by our growth. They may criticize you, guilt trip you, they may pull you back into old patterns, and most of the time they don't even realize it. You can't expect support from blocked people. That's just like asking a dog to do your taxes. It's not that people are completely ignorant, they just lack security. They don't offer support or guidance to other people because they're unable to give that to themselves. Creative recovery needs protection. You've got to be firm and set boundaries and don't let other people's fears derail you. Leading on from this, Cameron talks about crazy makers. Crazy makers are people that thrive on drama. They break promises, they don't follow schedule, constantly demanding attention. They are people that pull you into the storm, drain your energy and your time. Crazy makers hate order because chaos keeps them in the spotlight. If you've ever found yourself constantly rescuing someone, bailing someone out, constantly having to repeat cycles, fighting their battles, chances are you've probably met one. For artists, crazy makers are toxic. Sometimes stepping away from those people is the best thing you can do for your creative recovery. However, sometimes when we step away, we feel that doubt come back. Cameron describes it as if your mind is a room. Imagine this. You've been living in a house your whole life, you have your very own bedroom full of pictures and furniture. Those things might have served you purpose at some point in your life. You may have attached memories to those things. But then you decide to move house, get given a completely new room. It's completely empty, there's nothing in it, and it's yours to fill. You might be called to get some of the things that you filled your old room with, or you might want to go out and get new things to fill that room. You can choose to stick to the old things that you associated with, or you can start letting in fresh air. Every single time that you experiment, no matter how small or imperfect, you are opening that window for something alive to enter. Cameron says that one of the most powerful tools is attention. Attention is what reconnects us to life and to creativity. When we slow down and notice the details of the world around us, whether that be the garden outside or the birds that chirp in the morning or how sunlight hits the window, that's not us wasting time, that's actually fueling your creativity. It's how we find meaning in the middle of chaos. Cameron finishes off the reading of the week by talking about the rules of the road for creative recovery, and those rules are show up on the page, use it to rest, to dream, to try. Care for your inner artist like you would care for a child. Set small, gentle goals and meet them. Pray for guidance, courage, and humility. Remember, it's more painful to stay blocked than it is to just do the work. Stay alert to signs and synchronicities. They are little reminders that you're not alone. Surround yourself with companions who encourage you. Trust that the universe loves creativity. Remember, your job is to do the work, not to judge it. And finally, make space for quality. If you keep showing up, the quantity will take care of itself. Creative recovery isn't supposed to be perfect. You must clear away the chaos internally by controlling your self-doubt and also externally with toxic people. You've got to open the windows to your mind, pay attention to the world around you, and you must show up for yourself faithfully. I did my morning pages this morning as well as task 1 for this week, which was to reread the basic principles, which is at the very start of the book. And I'm to reread those pages every morning and every night this week. Today, I will be completing task 2, which, to be totally honest with you, is quite long-winded. So part A is all about time management. I have to list 5 major activities this week and estimate how much time I usually spend doing them. Then I have to explore whether they are compulsory shoulds or whether they are just things that I want to do. Honestly, I don't think I could have started this on a more uneventful time in my life. Right now, I'm not working at my muggle job because my workplace is closed for refurbishment. There isn't exactly much structure in my days at the moment. Because I'm not working, I'm not making money, which means I haven't been doing things that cost much. I've kind of just been plodding along, so please don't expect those activities to be all that interesting. So of course, I'm gonna put this program as my first major activity for the week. I spend roughly 2 hours daily doing the artist's way, and that includes the morning pages, the reading, filming the content, doing the tasks, editing. Ideally, yes, this is something I should be doing. I mean, I have signed a contract after all, but it's also something that I genuinely want to do. Next is journaling. Now, technically this program and my journaling are completely different things. I journal every evening before bed, and it doesn't take me more than 20 minutes. It's not compulsory, like I don't need to journal every day, but it is an active choice that I make. I think journaling helps me find that sense of autonomy. It helps me feel organized, focused, helps improve my gratitude as well. So it's something that I want to do because I know the benefits it brings. Another activity is listening to music. My grotty headphones are literally glued to my ears. If I had to estimate, I would probably say that I listen to music about 6 to 8 hours a day, especially now when there isn't much happening. I know it's not a need, but music is the one thing in life that makes me feel alive. Something that I do because I enjoy it, because it makes me happy. Then there's my daily trip to Tesco. It's literally down the road, so it does not take me long at all. Now this is definitely a should, because girls gotta eat. Finally, social media. I mentioned before that I'm not much of a poster. I kind of use social media as a way to consume content. According to my analytics, I've spent 4.5 hours on social media this week, and it's only Tuesday. I'm usually more active at night because I'm just there in my bed doom scrolling. So no, it's not something that I need to do, but it is something I want to do, even though it's not the most flattering use of my time. Part B of this task is about creating a safety map. But I've got to take a sheet of paper, draw a circle. Inside the circle, I need to put the names of people that I feel are supportive, encouraging, and safe to talk to about my creativity. Outside the circle, I have to put the names of people that I need to protect myself from creatively. The idea is to keep this safety map close to you in your morning pages, and you are to update it when things shift. So I always know who I can trust with my ideas and who I might need to keep a little bit of distance from. Another day, another step forward. For today's task, I have to write down 20 things that I enjoy doing and then pick 2 of them to actually make time for this week. The twist is, I also have to know when I last did each thing. So sit back and enjoy a lovely montage of the 20 things that I enjoy doing. I enjoy listening to music, making music, dancing, choreographing, teaching, filming content, acting, scenic walks, writing poetry, journaling, embellishing outfits, painting on clothes, dressing up, going out with my friends, reading, divination, charity shopping, makeup, watching horror movies, watching theatre. Honestly, fuck me, it was harder than I thought. It's kind of confronting seeing how long it's been since I've done some of these things. Maybe you might be in that position as well. Take this as your sign to do what you love this week. The point of this exercise is to make time. So I booked myself into a dance class tonight. I'm a little nervous. It's my first proper class since finishing the tour. And yeah, money is a little tight, which is why I've been holding back. But I need to stop putting creativity on pause. This is about dedicating time to what makes me feel inspired. One of the tasks today was to look at the affirmations that I'd written last week, and I need to choose one that I connect with the least. So the one that I went for originally as the blurt was, I need more time and money to create art. Then I converted this to, I can create meaningful art with exactly what I have right now. I think I chose it because there's always a bit of skepticism when I read it. I don't always believe it. I'm always telling myself that I need more time, more money, more resources, more gear before I can actually make something that I think is worth it. And I think it's really easy to fall into that trap sometimes. But when I think about it, I have made stuff that I'm proud of just by using what I have in the moment. Around this time last year, it was probably one of the worst chapters of my life. It's a terribly long story, so maybe one day you'll get the full story time. But essentially, I was homeless. Myself and CJ were moving into a flat, which we inquired about months prior. We paid the deposit, the first month's rent, we signed the contract, we forwarded our references, we left our old place of residency. We got to our new place on the moving day with all of our things there, and the landlord then decided to pull out of the tenancy. So we were officially without a home, with our whole life literally there on the street. This time as well, I got let go from the job I had at the time. Why, you ask? It's still a mystery to me. My boss didn't pay me for 2 months of work, refused to give me shifts, and refused to write me an employer's reference. He eventually made a settlement, but never gave me work again. Very kindly, there were people who were able to help us out. I'm very grateful for those people. And I wrote a song about how I was feeling that I produced on my phone. I even shot the video for it. It took me less than a week. Didn't cost me anything, just my phone. I can't lie, I was really proud of what I'd made considering the circumstances. It showed to me that, you know, I didn't need a house to make meaningful art. If anything, the fact that I didn't was the motive behind it all. Some of my favourite artists create the best work when they're limited, so maybe this is the exact reminder that I need. The task is to write it out 5 times, so let's do it. Hopefully it starts to sink in. That isn't the only thing. There is another task I'm doing today, and it's that I need to write 5 more imaginary lives. So if you watched last week's video, you would have seen that I wrote about 5 lives that I could have been living if things gone another way, or if I just chose something completely different. It's kind of fun, but it's also quite strange. It sort of makes you realise how many directions life can go in. Like, referring to last week's video, in another life maybe I'm a fashion designer or a paranormal investigator. The point isn't to make myself wish for a different life, but to see that I've got all these interests and possibilities in me already. It's a reminder that I'm not just one thing. So yes, time to dream up 5 more imaginary lives, and who knows, maybe bits of them can sneak their way into the life I'm building right now. After spending a bit of time thinking about 5 more imaginary lives, I think I finally got my 5. So last week I said maybe I'd be a poet, but I didn't think it was that exhilarating. Maybe I thought I could be some sort of mystic writer, like a witch or a wizard, write poetry as if they're spells, and I'm in this hidden cottage in the woods doing magic with a black cat splayed over me. I love being by the sea. I grew up by the coast. So maybe I'd be like a little bookkeeper at the seaside, make this really cozy cafe where people can read in and look at the shoreline. I can't believe I didn't think of teaching. Like, if not to perform, I could maybe open my own performing school. I could help young performers feel more confident and creative. Maybe I don't teach performing. Maybe I could be one of those quirky art teachers, the ones that just lean over, look at what you've done and decide to scribble all over it. One of my guilty pleasures is that I'm a little bit of a gamer boy. Maybe I could fulfill my old dreams of becoming a video game developer, or someone who tests video games, or like a YouTuber who tries video games. Like, that would be quite fun. Okay, so I would say that that's completed. The last thing I will be doing today is my artist date for this week. Tonight I'm going to be heading to the cinema to go and watch a movie. Watching a movie always sparks ideas for me. It's not always about the story. Sometimes it's about the visuals, like how a scene is lit, the way the music builds in the background. Sometimes dialogue sticks with me. Movies kind of give me permission to dream bigger, and they remind me that creativity is basically just putting your own spin on the things that inspire you. Hi everyone, so I wasn't going to do any tasks today because I've had quite a busy day, okay? Of course, I still did my morning pages and yeah, but if you remember last week, I mailed some letters to myself. One being about my monster horror story. I was writing a letter to the editor in my defense, and the other one was like a letter of encouragement, like a thank you note to myself. So they came in the post today, so I'm gonna go ahead and read them. I do not know which one's which. Christ, Blue cemented them shut. Okay. So this is the one to my editor. I have no idea what I've written. I'm a little nervous actually. Dear editor, I recently read an account that suggested I was not strong enough to pursue my art in my desired field. Your perspective ignores the commitment, passion, and dedication I bring to my work. Everybody has a right to explore their creativity without feeling belittled or pushed aside. I will not let that experience define me. My artistry is valid, my work matters, and I will continue on my path as a fucking winner. Regards, Bleu Brazier. I really enjoyed writing that one because I felt like I can just let go and actually give a response to what had happened to me. Because of what had happened, I felt a bit like embarrassed, but it was nice to finally have it into something physical. Not gonna lie, I could have said a lot more, but I decided to be the bigger person. This one must be my letter of encouragement. I'm gonna snap a nail. I feel like it's gonna happen. I need to be careful. Okay, here she is. Can't remember what I'd written for this one either, so I want to keep this one by me. If at times I need that extra pick up, I've got it right here. Dear Blue, thank you. Thank you for having the courage to look inward. Thank you for choosing to nurture the creative part of yourself that sometimes has been overlooked, doubted, and dismissed. You're giving it the time, attention, and respect it deserves. It isn't about perfection, but trust. Trusting to listen to yourself and follow your curiosity. Your voice is worth hearing. Even on the days that felt messy, uncertain, difficult, you pulled through. It shows how much you care about your dreams. I'm beyond proud of you for daring to believe. I'm proud of the risks you've taken. I'm proud of the discoveries you've made. I'm proud of the ways you're learning to love yourself. As you move forward, hold your vision. Keep protecting your art with care and devotion. Use your creativity as your compass, and remember how much of a joy it is to bring ideas to life. The most beautiful thing is that it never really ends. It only keeps unfolding, one brave step at a time. May you never forget that the light you've been searching for has been within you all along. With love, Blue. That was sweet. It's so weird because when I was reading it, the time of me writing it came back to me. That one took me longer than the other letter. I think because it's really hard to say good things to yourself sometimes. And I guess like that's what the affirmations are for. Working with affirmations for the past week and a half. Now I read it and I feel empowered. I feel great. I urge you to do this. If you've been through a horrible experience, write a letter to your editor in defense. You're lacking in security and confidence, write a letter of encouragement to yourself. It's cringe, like it is cringe, and even when I read it I'm like, oh, like I feel so much better to actually receive it in the mail as well. It feels more personal. Highly recommend doing this task. Okay, I'm gonna settle down, do my thing. I'm literally running on an hour and a half sleep. I'm gonna do what I need to do. I'm gonna complete the rest of the tasks tomorrow. Okay, so now we're moving to the final tasks of the week. Task 7 is called the life pie. I need to draw a circle and divide it into 6 slices, just like a pie. I then need to label each slice with a different area of my life. And those areas are listed as spirituality, exercise, play, which I assume is my creativity, my leisure time, etc., work, friends, and romance and adventure. In each slice, I've got to put a dot to mark how fulfilled I feel in that area. The closer to the edge, the more fulfilled, the closer to the center, the less fulfilled. For my own experience, I'm gonna rate each area out of 10, and put my dot to where that number would correspond on the chart. Starting off with spirituality, I used to be a bit of a mystic freak. About 5 years ago, my routine would consist of day and night meditation. I would journal after those sessions. I did spell work, I scripted, I made sigils, I owned an Ouija board, dowsing rods, hundreds of crystals, I even own like hundreds of tarot cards. I ended up making a small business a couple of years ago reading for people. I stopped when I moved to London because I just had so many commitments and responsibilities. I literally did it all, so back then I would definitely give myself a 9. Now I don't do half of the stuff as frequently. And hey, I still journal every day, I read tarot occasionally, I script on new moon, and of course now I'm doing this program, which I would say is very spiritual. Now I'm maybe thinking a 7. Exercise is a tricky one. I don't go to the gym for numerous reasons. I don't really feel like I need to go to the gym. I still go to class, I dance, I take regular walks. I can get that kind of fulfillment without being a gym lad. So I don't exercise every day, not a bodybuilder, I don't do heavy lifting, so I'd say I was fairly average. For that reason, I'm gonna put a 5. Play, I would say, is a high number, especially since doing the course. I'm literally doing everything at the moment, and it feels so much like play. It feels like I'm having fun, I'm working on the things that I love, but I'm gonna put down an 8. Then we have work. I have 2 jobs. I'm a self-employed performer and creative, and when I'm not performing, I'm working at a theatre. Both of which have been fairly absent, as we've discussed. So bearing all that in mind, I'd have to put it down as like a 4, because on average, which would be a 5, I'd actually be working at least one of the jobs. Below average, like a 4, is where I think it sits currently. Next is friends. I spoke last week about the people who encourage me. Some of those people are still active friendships. Others have kind of slowly faded out of my orbit. Not for any particular reason, but you know, some people drift. Timelines can naturally retract. CJ's away on tour. Other friends in my circle, they live quite further away from me and they're working all the time. I only get fulfillment from them at the moment if it's through social media or if there's a special occasion where I get to see them. I do live with people who are my friends. Now, I wouldn't say it was a 9 or a 10, but definitely above average. I'm gonna give this one a 6. Lastly, we have romance and adventure. Look, this one has to be the lowest. I've never been in a serious relationship before. I don't even think I've scratched the surface on what love is. I don't really go on dates, and I think the reason for that is because I'm not everyone's cup of tea. I've not been on a date in almost 3 years. So, I don't feel like I'm missing out though. I've never felt like I've needed a relationship. There's nothing that someone else can give me that I can't give to myself. So I'm probably gonna put this as a 2. The only reason why I'm not giving it a 1 is because adventure is part of this area. All that completed, I now have to connect the dots. The idea is to just notice which areas of my life feel nourished and which areas feel neglected. And I can use that awareness to make shifts. Which leads on to the next task, which is called 10 tiny changes. Here, I need to make a list of 10 changes that I want in my life. Give you some examples. I've written, I would like to stretch more, I would like to get new bed sheets, I would like to bake a cake, and the last 2 tasks involve me selecting one of those 10 and doing that thing this week. So I went to the shop, I decided that the small change I'm making in my life is to buy myself flowers for my room. I only have fake plants in my room, so to give it a little bit more life, I'm putting those bad boys on display. Ready for a Sunday night check-in. Today marks the 14th time I did the morning pages. So yes, I did do them every single morning this week. Motivation part is still tough, but when I'm there and I'm doing it does flow a lot easier. I don't think I've written the words I don't know what to write at all this week, which is a massive improvement from last week. Of course, I can't disclose the content of the pages, but from what I remember, I always start by writing things like, yesterday I did this and it made me feel like this, so-and-so has been on my mind recently, I think because blank had a dream last night, it was about XYZ, and then writing from that, my mind then carries me through. I'd say I touch on like 3 to 5 subjects per sitting, which it's good because I feel like my mind is starting to open up more. Do I feel like I'm experiencing the full benefits yet? No, but I'm not forcing it. I trust that bigger results will come in time, so for now I'm just riding the waves. For my artist date this week, I went to the cinema to watch the new Conjuring film. It was also part of a task where I had to select 2 out of 20 things that I enjoy doing. I really enjoyed the movie. I've seen online that some people didn't. I think it's got like 50-something% on Rotten Tomatoes, so you know, not the most positive opinions, but I liked it. It was ominous, it had a ton of jump scares. I'll agree that the storyline was a bit meh, but I definitely say it had the strong components that you want in a horror film like The Conjuring. I would say it's my least favourite Conjuring film, but nonetheless a satisfying watch for sure. The movie was over 2 hours, something I enjoyed, helped fuel my creative energy. However, I went with some of my friends from work, but I think there's a loophole here. Going to the cinema is a personal experience. You aren't there to engage with people, you're not there to socialize with people, you are there to shut off from the outside world and individually digest the film. Technically, I did do my day alone, but I'm gonna count it as a successful artist day. There was one task that I didn't manage to do this week. It was the very first one. If you remember, I had to reread the basic principles every morning and night. I just couldn't do it. I needed to dedicate the morning for my pages and preparation for the tasks that I'm to do that day. And at night time, I'm having to edit and also prep for the next day. Doing the reading just kind of slipped my mind. I apologize for that. I will do better. On the whole, I feel like this week was less intense compared to last week. I think it's because I know now what to expect and how to structure my time. I will say though that this week's topic, being recovering a sense of identity, wasn't really explored that deeply. Like, I felt like the reason for this week was more of a reiteration from last week with some very minor elaboration. I don't think we discovered extremely new themes. Some of the tasks were literally continuations of the previous week's tasks. Not all of them. List of things that I enjoy, the life pie, 10 tiny changes. These are tasks that uncover what I like and what I associate with, where I'm at currently in areas of my life, and what changes I can make to improve. But do I think the tasks this week really captured the objectives? Not entirely. But if we're already revisiting previous tasks and chapters, I do feel like maybe we're able to achieve those objectives in the later week. I'm excited to now tick this week off and move forward. I have a lot going on next week. I'm back at work, so let's see if we can persevere and come back stronger. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed your week as much as I enjoyed mine. Hopefully, I will see you in the next one.